Previously on the Embracing the Journey podcast.
I just want to be treated just like everyone else. There were doctors that told me I would never be able to run again. They told me I should just take up swimming to keep the weight off. They actually said that.
Really?
Surgery was a mistake.
Welcome back to Embracing the Journey podcast. What's your relationship right now with your parents?
Yeah, it's fine. It's have been really helpful to taking me to all around the country, I guess, because we went to Las Vegas for a different type of diagnosis, which did show something, and then all around this area as well, and then East Coast, and
I'm just amazed, and I'm like in shock that you have found a way to do what you love, despite all the things that have been thrown your way. I feel like you represent what athletes are supposed to be at the level that you're at.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to shift this conversation, and I wanted to ask what it's like to be a female in the sports space and what that means to you with all these things about female empowerment and so on and so forth. What does that mean to you?
I guess for me, it's just, it's giving me an opportunity to be able to compete with, to be able to compete and be able to just show that just because we are women, it doesn't mean that we can't do everything the other gender can do, or with my disability, different categories, is that we still have the drive, we still have the determination. Yeah.
Do you feel, respectfully, that women should be getting paid as much as men in sports?
Yeah, for sure.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so basically it was super interesting. Here in the US, obviously there's a big pay difference between male and females, but it was funny, when I was looking at contracts for Korea, they were pretty much the same, which is
really?
Yeah, because I guess the pro or whatever, you have pro track teams in Korea that they sign with a certain pro track team, and so the same contract is based on how well you do and etc., that type of stuff, rather than just based on sex.
Wow. In Korea, in America, do you see women in Korea rallying around other women and supporting the female sport versus how it is here? Is there a difference?
Honestly, I don't have a lot of experience with the Korean team, but I feel in some ways they're more forgiving. For example, even when I had my injury, they still wanted to sign me to a contract, even though they knew I was injured, which obviously here in the US you wouldn't. Yeah.
Why do you want to be a U.S. athlete and not a Korean athlete?
Well, because para isn't a thing in Korea.
It is not?
Yeah, so I contacted them, never heard anything, and then I looked, they don't have any, they only have a few and not very, it's kind of a stigma, disability in Korea.
What do you mean?
You don't have the same rights or whatever, so for example, all the ADA accommodations you won't necessarily get in Korea versus the US, and then it's just frowned upon in that space.
Having a disability is frowned upon?
Yeah.
In the sports space or just in general?
In general,
So okay, so things just got interesting, right? So if a person was born with a disability in Korea, they're looked at differently.
Yeah, they would probably end up in an orphanage.
Really?
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah, so.
But in the same space, right? an athlete like you
Yeah.
who's had a stellar career
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden ended up getting injured.
Yeah.
How would the Korean population look at you?
Yeah. So it's definitely looked down upon. There's a lot of obviously stigma with the disability and thinking that you can't do everything just because of your situation.
Would that prohibit you from getting certain jobs? Like let's say athletics were out of the way and you were wanting to go into being a professor or a coach or something, like, would that hold up?
Definitely having a disability would make things more difficult. And it also depends on the severity. And like, there's some ways I can hide it sometimes.
Yeah.
With parents, etc. So it's not necessarily something I talk about, like, on the profession. If I were to do the professional thing necessarily.
Wow. I would have never knew that.
Yeah.
So the Para Games are next year.
Yeah.
And they're in Paris.
Yes.
Right? Is there going to be representation from Korea?
That if maybe one person, like the times that they had a lot of representation was probably in when they hosted the games. Other than that, not really.
Really?
Yeah. So only when they,
Wow. So in America, right, we're fighting female and male equality.
Yeah.
And in Korea, if you're a female male, are they still fighting for equality there, or is it?
The biggest thing is they're trying to, like, obviously, like, many countries, there's a lot of, like, women in the workplace not having kids, and that's, and underpopulation because of that.
Koreans are underpopulated?
Like, the age situation is that there's a lot of elderly.
Whoa.
But not enough, like, the younger generations, because they're not having, kids as much. Yeah.
So, okay. And I'm like saying this as if like we're the only country in the world that has their situations that they're working through.
Yeah.
But I would have never thought that if you had a disability and you were wanting to represent your country, that your country wouldn't support what it is that you have going on. In 2024, let's say a Korean athlete wins the 400, the Para Olympics, right?
Yeah.
What does that country do? Do they support that athlete because they brought home the gold medal to that country? Or are they kind of like, oh, okay, cool?
Honestly, that would be a good question because, there's two things going on. One is that it's super interesting because, like, compared to sports is really big in Korea, all sports, which is why they have huge, like, even track, for example, which isn't necessarily the, like, glory sports. Mm-hmm. They still have a huge following and, like a whole, like, league of pro athletes for Korea. But at the same time, it's like being disabled is, like, frowned upon. So you're not going to get the contracts or the money like other Korean athletes do.
That's wild. We'll be right back. We're going to take a quick commercial break.
Looking to start a podcast, live stream, make a presentation, or perform on stage? Samson has all the gear you need to help you become a successful content creator. To learn more, visit samsontech.com.
Welcome back to Embracing the Journey podcast. So far, I've learned so much, right? Like, I feel like in America, for instance, when you turn on the TV and you look at sports, you see men. And you see men getting these astronomical contracts and these astronomical paychecks. And then you see women that aren't at that space, right? How does that make you feel as a professional, woman in the space of track and field?
Obviously, it'd be great to be able to get paid just the same as my male counterparts do. But at the other, like, we still have a long ways to go to be able to do that. And I think part of it is just like marketing, as well as like, I guess some of the other sports or whatever, they're definitely more male oriented than female. And then you don't get as much like airtime, etc.
This is mind blowing because it's really challenging to have these types of conversations about equal pay, especially with two athletes, right? So it's interesting to hear your perspective, right? Who's your favorite track and field athlete?
The one I grew up watching was Carmelita Jeter.
Okay. And what makes her stick out to you?
I guess it was like, for me, it was early on, like in my, I had just started track and stuff like that. So so watching it around, like, I think junior or senior year of high school was when I really got into track before I, enjoyed it, and also did soccer at the same time. So it was my first experience of that.
Coming from Roosevelt High School.
Yeah.
And having the success that you had there.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
Honestly, it was rather, so high school track was, the first couple of years were fine. I was kind of doing soccer and track at the same time. So, I wasn't really focused. But when I finally started focusing, that's when it got interesting. Basically, I joined a club. They didn't like that I joined a club to make me...
Wait, hold on. Which one?
I did Seattle Speed.
Okay.
And they didn't like that I wanted to go outside of their training.
Mm-hmm.
So they started trying to had me do the 200, which isn't my favorite, or had me not do certain events.
As like a discipline.
Yeah.
Okay.
But obviously, I got faster when I did club, got slower when I did high school. So they just didn't like that I went outside of their training to get faster.
Yeah. Were there other star athletes at Roosevelt when you were there, as far as track?
Yeah, there were distance for sure. Not sprints. That was because I think the coach was really friendly was more like wanted to be your buddy than they wanted to coach.
Yeah.
And so there weren't very many fast sprinters there. I was pretty much the only one. And then when I tried to do other things, they tried to take me off relays, etc. And tried to get me, invitational track meets where just a few runners go. They tried to take me off of that too.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. And you and I went to the same high school.
Yeah.
I experienced some of the same stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a good career in high school, and I was playing basketball.
Yeah.
And they told me that if I didn't run the 200, I couldn't long jump or high jump. And I said, okay, looks like I'm not going to be high jumping and long jumping then.
Yeah.
But I was also told several times that track and field needed to be the priority. And if I did other sports, it would hurt my chances.
Yeah.
Taylor, I think it was the polar opposite. I think it increased my chances, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I've never thought about it like that. I dealt with similar things that you're expressing right now.
Yeah, but I think it's in a lot of high schools in this area, a lot of my when I was in high school, a lot of the club teammates who also did high school were ostracized for doing clubs. So I think it's situation here.
Right. If someone were to contact you, that is just recently going through, a career changing situation, what piece of advice would you tell them?
Yeah, I guess that there are a few things. I think it's don't give up, keep trying. And if someone tells you or a doctor or someone that you think, you should trust to still keep fighting to find another doctor. Because if I had accepted what they had said the first time, I wouldn't be able to walk or any of that stuff. So, but at the same time, find something that you're passionate about and focus on that to be able to overcome, the windy path that is in front of you.
Right. I love that. I always like leaving the podcast on this one question.
Yeah.
What's one thing that you embrace about yourself?
I guess the thing would be to never give up, to keep fighting for what you think you deserve, whether that's sports or completely something else. Because I think everyone has like whatever hurdles or roadblocks they have in front of them.
Of course. How can people follow your journey? How can people get a hold of you? And how can people stay connected? Especially for those who may want to like work with you or sponsor you. What would be the best way to contact you? And we can put a link in
my Instagram, tailored to sprint. Yeah.
That's the best way?
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, Taylor is not only an inspiration to me, but I hope she found a way to get into your guys' heart and see the world in a completely different space. So until next time, we'll see you guys soon. Thank you.